Welcome to One Guy, One Course, One Disc. We are here at a new course in the small town of Between, Georgia. It's called Heritage Pines. So let's go take a look. And in the event that you do lose a disc on this course, there is a, where is it? There it is. There is a disc drop right after hole 18. So don't worry if you lose a disc, you can probably get it back. So let's go take a look at the course. Hole 1 is a 259-foot par 3. It's going to go down through this tunnel and it's going to end to the right. A lot of the shots on this course are going to be tunnel shots kind of like this, so get used to it. But once you finish hole number 1, you'll find hole number 2 off to the right. Hole 2 is a 250-foot par 3 that goes downhill 11 feet. It's going to be about 167 feet to this gap right in front of us. That's about 10 feet wide. But from there, you just have to miss a bunch more trees. But once you finish hole 2, you'll find hole 3 straight ahead of you. You just have to go around the trees to the right. Hole 3 is the first of 2 par 5s on this course. This one comes in at 703 feet. It's going to be 308 feet just to get out of the woods. Ideally, if you can't get out of the woods, you want your first shot to land right about here, maybe a little to the left, just to help open up the gap just a little bit. But once you do get out of the woods, you're looking at 395 feet to get to the basket. However, don't think just because you're in the open it's going to get easy, because you will find that there's typically a good headwind right here in the open, which will turn your disc over quite easily. So it may be a little harder to get down this 395 feet, but hopefully you get to the basket for an easy par. And once you finish this hole, you'll find hole number 4 to the left. Hole 4 is a 326-foot par 3 that goes downhill 16 feet, most of that off the tee pad. But you're wanting to go straight for about 170 feet, and then maybe a little turn to the right, and then come back, finish left. This is a tricky little hole that has a lot of trees to mess with your disc, but hopefully you can get down here without taking too many hits off trees. You definitely want to stay away from the left side though. And once you finish hole 4, hole 5 is to your right. Hole 5 is a 288-foot par 3. It's going to require you to go through 2 gaps that are less than 10 feet each. So if you can manage to get your discs through these gaps, you should be able to get an easy up and down par. But once you finish hole 5, hole 6 will be in front of you, and then you're going to go to the right to get to the tee pad. Hole 6 is a 352-foot par 3 that's going to go downhill 15 feet. It's going to be 180 feet to get to this gap, and then you got a tunnel shot the rest of the way to the basket. Hopefully you can keep it in the fairway here, because going to the right will definitely make your life a lot worse. The left, you have a few open areas to get it to the basket, so you might be able to save your par. But once you finish hole number 6, you're going to find hole 7 to your left. Hole 7 is a 276-foot par 3. Depending on where the basket is, it's going to change your shot, because one pin location is to the left and the other's to the right. So just try to figure out where it is before you throw. But once you get through these initial gaps, it opens up and it should give you an easy up and down for par. And you'll find hole 8 to your left. Hole 8 is a 498-foot par 4 that goes left to right, then right to left. So ideally you want your first shot to come up here to this grassy little area, and you want to be as far to the right as you can get to open up the second shot. And then for your second shot, you want something that's going to go right to very far left, depending on where the basket is. But if it's in this deep location, you're going to need something that can go straight after the turn. But once you finish hole 8, you'll find hole 9 behind you and to the right. Hole 9 is a 250-foot par 3 that goes downhill 14 feet. You have the choice of this left or middle line. If you choose the middle line, you're going to be about 157 feet to this 10-foot gap, and then you're going to have a slight finish left to get to the basket. Hole 10 is to your left. Hole 10 is a second par 5 coming in at 626 feet. It may be shorter, but I guarantee you it's probably harder than the first one. I wish I could tell you what to do on this hole. The best advice I can give you is just miss the trees. But I feel that if you follow the line I'm showing you, you probably can manage a par on this hole. So you want something that's going to go left to right on your first shot, hopefully land somewhere around here. And then you just need a shot that's going to go right to left for your second shot to get you to somewhere close to the base, maybe right around here. You want to get as far left as possible though to help open up the gap to the basket, because on the right side it's very closed off. But hopefully you can get it through this gap and hopefully get an easy par, if not a possible birdie. Hole 11 is to your left. Hole 11 is a 223-foot par 3 that gives you options left or right off the tee. Either option you take, you're gonna have to hit a 10-foot gap. Personally, the right gap's a little easier for me, but it pretty much turns right to left the whole way. But once you finish hole 11, hole 12 is straight in front of you. Hole 12 is a 315-foot par 3 that's gonna go dead straight down these 2 rows of pine trees. Don't be discouraged, though, if you find yourself on the other side of the pine trees, because the other sides are fairly open, so you should be able to manage a par even if you do get off the fairway just a bit. But once you finish this hole, hole 13 is to your right. Hole 13 is a 447-foot par 4. Your first shot's going to require you to get through all these gaps of trees, probably around 10 to 15 feet wide. You're going to have to get 278 feet before you're going to turn to the right, where you're going to find yourself with a 169-foot straight shot down another tunnel of pine trees. So hopefully you can get up and down for par on this par 4, and then work your way to hole 14, which you'll find to the left. Good luck as you try to navigate these gaps on hole 14. This is a 536-foot par 4. It's not easy by any stretch of the means as you try to get through all these gaps. But if you can manage to get through, you want to find yourself more to the right of the fairway. If you wind up left, you're going to find yourself behind a wall of trees, which makes your second shot a lot more difficult. But ideally, you want to get to right about here, which will give you a look at the basket for your second shot. Hopefully you can get up and down for a par on this hole, and then you'll find hole 15 to your right. Hole 15 is a 182-foot par 3 that goes downhill 25 feet. It's about 104 feet to get to this gap right here, and this is where you're going to start to turn right. Be careful because that creek in the back there is OB. Once you finish hole 15, you'll find hole 16 behind you. Hole 16 is a 212-foot par 3. You're going to want to go about 117 feet before you turn to the right to get to the basket. That's another 95 feet away. Once you finish hole 16, hole 17, you're going to go to the left to the trail that leads to 18's tee pad, and then 17's tee pad is more to the right. Hole 17 is a 250-foot par 3. This fenced-in area plays OB, and then the area to the left here plays as a hazard. You're going to want to go about 161 feet to right about here, and then you want to turn to the right to get to the basket. You'll find hole 18 back and to the left across the field. Hole 18 is a par 4 coming in at 566 feet. It's going to be 397 feet to get to the woods line. That's up 14 feet. Ideally, you want your first shot to get somewhere up on top of this little hill here to hopefully give you the easiest chance to get your second shot close to the basket. But from the opening, you're going to find the basket to the left. Hopefully you can get your second shot somewhat close to either tap in for a birdie or get the easy par. But once you finish hole 18, the parking lot is going to be to your right. Now that you've seen the course, let's take a look at today's disc. It is from Viking Discs. It is the Berserker. It is a 10-speed, 5 glide, -3 turn to fade. I haven't thrown this before. I actually just got it yesterday. I was told it's flippy, so let's see how it flies. Oh. Oh. Awful, bro. I got lucky.
on Nancy. Oh. Oh, get it there, Nancy. Oh. Oh. Why? Oh. Oh. Get it up, Josh. Oh. God. Nope. Not the gap I was aiming for, but I'll take it. Ah! Oh! Hey, a bird. So there you go. That is the Berserker. It is a understable disc. It's gonna turn. Maybe not a lot for you when you first get it, but it'll break it and it'll start to turn a lot. You do need to be careful in a headwind, because that will just dump it right over and turn it into a roller pretty quickly. Is it a disc I would suggest getting? I think yes, especially if you're first starting out. It is a disc that will probably go straight, maybe get a little turn, and it'll fade back out. But you're gonna have to watch it, because I have a feeling it's gonna get pretty flippy pretty quick, especially as it starts to hit a lot of trees. But definitely put it in the bag if you like it. As far as Heritage Pines as a course, got a 7.4 overall. The terrain was pretty bad. There's a lot of roots, holes you got to be careful of. It can get pretty crowded. I was out here on a somewhat misty drizzle kind of day, and there are still people out on the course. So I can imagine when it gets nice out, especially maybe on a Saturday, this course will get pretty crowded. But it's definitely worth coming out here, giving it a go. It'll test your ability to throw accurate. There are some holes that are very tight, so you need to make sure you're consistent off the tee. But definitely come out here, give it a try. You'll probably want to come back here a few times because it's a good course. And while you're out here, head down to the Syndicate, find some discs to buy. Until next time, off to the next course.